We aren't here to decode mystical symbols or flip through one of those dream dictionaries. Nope, we're diving straight into the hard, verifiable science of what's actually happening inside your brain when you close your eyes at night.
So I want you to think back for just a second. Have you ever realized you were dreaming while you were actually still fast asleep? Normally our sleeping minds just feel like we're passively watching some completely random movie where the plot makes zero sense and locations change in the blink of an eye. But every now and then, we actually wake up inside of them. Suddenly, you're the director of the movie.
And this phenomenon, it's so powerful and so well documented that huge institutions have poured massive resources into figuring it out. Get this, a declassified CIA Gateway report actually stated, with complete confidence, that most, if not all people, go into an out-of-body state during REM sleep. Back in the 60s, the Maimonides Lab in New York funded these highly controlled studies on dream telepathy. They literally woke subjects up mid-dream to see if they could identify images hidden inside sealed envelopes. I mean, that just goes to show how seriously this altered state of consciousness is taken by top scientists and intelligence agencies.
So, here's our roadmap for today's explainer. We're going to cover the mystery of dreams, the brain mechanics of REM, the lucid dreaming toolkit, emotional benefits and risks, and finally, waking up in the matrix. Let's get right into it.
Part 1. The Mystery of Dreams. Unlocking our nightly survival simulations.
Right, so it all comes down to this tiny almond-shaped part of your brain called the amygdala. This little guy is your brain's emotional and fear processing center, and let me tell you, it is highly active when you're asleep. You know that super common dream where you're being chased by a monster or a bad guy? Well, that happens because your amygdala is literally running intense, fear-based simulations to prep you for real-world dangers. We actually see this across all mammals. It's exactly why you might see your dog twitching or kicking in their sleep. Their brains are just actively practicing survival, but from the safety of their dog bed.
Part 2. Brain mechanics of REM. The physical architecture of sleep.
Okay, walk with me through this timeline for a second. For the first 15 minutes or so of sleep, you're in this light, drowsy state characterized by theta waves. After that, you drop down into deep physical repair mode, dominated by these slow delta waves. If someone wakes you up during this phase, you are going to feel incredibly groggy. But the real magic happens right around the 90-minute mark. This is when rapid eye movement, or REM sleep, kicks in. This is the stage where our most vivid, bizarre dreams happen. And thankfully, nature gave us a brilliant built-in safety mechanism for this: temporary sleep paralysis. Basically, your brain chemically paralyzes your major muscle groups to keep you safely tucked in bed, so you aren't physically sprinting down the hallway trying to escape whatever's chasing you in your dream.
Now, during normal sleep, your prefrontal cortex, which is the part of your brain responsible for logic, reason, and basically your core sense of self, is completely suppressed. It's shut down. And that is exactly why your dreams make absolutely zero logical sense and why you're totally fine just hanging out with a talking dog or driving a flying car. But here's the absolute kicker. During a lucid dream, this logic center miraculously wakes back up, while the rest of your physical body stays deeply asleep.
And hey, this isn't some rare mythical superpower either. A massive 55% of adults have experienced this reactivation of the prefrontal cortex at least once in their lives. That means more than half of you watching this have had a lucid dream. It's a highly common, measurable, scientific reality. In fact, back in 1975, Dr. Keith Hearn definitively proved this. He hooked a known lucid dreamer up to a machine and had him intentionally move his physical eyes in a pre-agreed pattern from inside the dream. He successfully signaled the waking world while he was still physically asleep. How wild is that?
Part 3. The Lucid Dreaming Toolkit. How to train your brain for lucidity.
So how do we actually do this? Well, science gives us a pretty exact toolkit, starting with daytime reality checks. See, because the logical rules of physics break down in dreams, you need a way to test your reality. Step 1, look at your hands and count your fingers. In a dream, you'll almost always see 6 or 7 blurry fingers instead of 5. Step 2, physically pinch your nose shut and try to breathe in. If you can still pull air in even with your airways closed, well, congratulations, you're dreaming. Step 3, check a digital watch, or read some text, look away, and look right back. In a dream, that text is almost guaranteed to scramble. The trick here is that if you build a daily habit of doing these reality checks while you're awake, your brain will eventually just do it out of habit while you're asleep, instantly triggering lucidity.
The next major tool is dream journaling. Step 1 is easy. Just keep a physical journal right by your bed. But step 2 is absolutely critical. You have to write down your dream the literal second you wake up.
Why? Because our brains do this aggressive memory dump that completely wipes our nighttime adventures clean within about 10 minutes of opening our eyes. By writing things down instantly, you're forcing your brain to say, hey, this dream state is important, which successfully bypasses those memory centers that normally just toss the information in the trash.
Now, once you've got those basics down, you can start playing with the advanced strategies. There's MILD, which is repeating bedside mantras, like I will know I'm dreaming, to sort of seed your subconscious before you drift off. Then there's WBTB, or wake back to bed. For this one, you set an alarm for about 5 hours into your sleep, wake up briefly, and go back to sleep so you drop straight into peak REM. Then you've got WILD, the wake-induced method. This is an intense one, where you try to carry your waking consciousness straight through the sleep paralysis phase. Fair warning though, this one can actually cause you to hallucinate shadowy figures as your brain makes the transition. And finally, if you're in a lucid dream and you feel it starting to collapse, you use a stabilization technique. You quite literally spin your dream body in circles to ground yourself back into the dream environment.
Part 4. Emotional benefits and risks. The double-edged sword of dream control.
Now, before you start aggressively hacking your sleep cycle tonight, we really need to responsibly examine the caveats here because it's a bit of a double-edged sword. On one hand, normal sleep acts as this incredible emotional first aid. REM sleep gently strips the painful emotions away from traumatic memories. Honestly, lucid dreaming is even being used therapeutically to help PTSD patients rewrite their nightmares. It's amazing stuff. But on the flip side, there are real risks. Forcing yourself awake at 4 a.m. to induce a lucid dream causes serious sleep deficits and messes with your natural restorative brainwaves. And alarmingly, some preliminary studies have actually linked obsessive lucid dreaming to an increased risk of psychosis for people who are already psychologically vulnerable.
There's another major psychological risk to consider: derealization and depersonalization. Essentially, if you blur the lines between your waking life and your dream life way too often, it can lead to deeply unsettling dissociative states. Think about it. If you spend hours every night being an all-powerful god in your own dream world, you might start feeling totally disconnected from your actual physical body and your real waking life.
Part 5. Waking up in the Matrix. The gateway to profound consciousness.
Yeah, despite those risks, the ability to consciously control the dream state continues to absolutely captivate researchers, psychologists, and everyday people alike. I mean, from ancient Tibetan Buddhists practicing dream yoga, all the way to modern neuroscience labs and those Cold War-era CIA experiments. Humanity has always looked at the synchronized, dreaming brain as a gateway to profound understanding. The CIA's gateway process theory literally suggested that once the brain is rendered coherent through techniques like sleep state induction, it begins resonating at ever higher vibrational levels. They theorized this could give us access to totally new states of intuition, problem-solving, and maybe even cosmic awareness. So, bringing it all together, you are the architect of your own mind. We've seen today that dreams are firmly grounded in hard neurochemistry, amygdala threat simulations, and emotional processing. But lucid dreaming, it quite literally hands you the keys to your own personal matrix. It's an inner playground where gravity is totally optional, physics are merely a suggestion, and your absolute only limit is your imagination.
Which leads me to end this explainer with a somewhat provocative question for you. What are you going to do with your newly activated prefrontal cortex tonight? I highly encourage you to grab a notebook, toss it on your nightstand, and safely explore the truly limitless possibilities of your own consciousness. Thanks so much for joining me on this deep dive into the mind. See you next time.